Now we get to the heart of ADD successful parenting. This is, if there was anything you take out, I think it's going to be this next piece, because this is the one that is probably has the largest impact on helping children be successful. And surprisingly, I'm going to talk about something that probably nobody else is talking about. I'm going to talk about the concept of cooperation and the importance of focusing on cooperation, particularly when you have a child with ADD. So, why cooperation? Some of the children I work with are truly oppositional, but many kids with ADD are not. You know, you ask them. Eventually they do what you want. They intend to do what you want. They're not saying they don't have to do what you want, but they're not very cooperative. You ask them to do something, and more likely they're going to tell you in a minute, or later, or I'll get to it, and then they forget. Or they argue and fuss. And finally, oftentimes when they go off to do what you ask, they don't really do a very good job. So they have to come back, or it's sort of, not what it needs to be. One of the interesting questions I ask families, and I'll ask the kid and the parent, I said, if your mom or dad asks you to do 10 things over the course of the day, not all at once, but 10, take your shoes out of the living room, turn off the TV, come help set the table, start your homework, go get ready for bed, asked you 10 things over the course of the day. How many of those 10, if any, would you do on the first request without any arguing or fussing and do it the way they want it? And I say to the kid and the parent, think about that. I want a number from each of you, or both parents. I want the parents' numbers and the kids' numbers. The funny thing is that they all tend to often be in agreement. They'll tell you an answer, and the number is typically 0, 1, 2, or 3. No more. Even the kids will tell you that it's just 0, 1, 2, or 3. Now, you may ask, what's normal? And actually, I have an answer to this, because back when I was in graduate school, we studied this. And we went and we recruited families, and we observed them in the home. And when we observed them, we wanted to see how cooperative kids were who we had recruited, because they were families which did not have problems, to compare them with our kids who came into our clinic. And what we found is kids without problems, they don't cooperate 100% of the time. They cooperate about 7 out of 10 requests on the first request. And after that, the parent just says, come on, Danny, go. And Danny goes. So the fact is there's a difference between 2 out of 10 or 1 out of 10 and 7 out of 10. It's a huge difference. And the difference is it creates a ton of conflict. May not be open screaming, but there's annoyance back and forth. And then the parent is nagging, and the kid doesn't like to be nagged. And it sucks the energy out of the family. And it's just not good. Back when I was a student and we worked on this, the surprising thing is when we worked on cooperation, we got 2 side effects we did not expect, because we could teach the parents how to get better cooperation. That's kind of what I'm going to cover here today. But the 2 side effects is that a lot of the nervous symptoms went away. Nail biting, poor sleep. We're going, why is that getting better? I don't know for sure, but our best guess is the conflict and stress in the family went way down. And so kids felt better. The second one, and this is even more surprising, is the kids got along better with their peers. A lot of ADD kids are not really popular. They have trouble making and keeping friends. And I don't think it's because other kids dislike hyperactive other kids, or they don't like kids who don't do their homework. They don't care. What they do care about is when the child with the ADD does something, maybe okay or maybe annoying, but it's gone on too long, the other children will say, stop, or it's my turn, or let's do something different. And the ADD kid would just ignore that signal and just keep doing what they're doing. And when the parents focused on cooperation at home, it seemed to have an effect on getting the child to be more cooperative with their peers, even though it doesn't appear to be the same thing. So cooperation is very important, and that's what we're going to talk about. So how do you get a child to be more cooperative? First thing is to be really clear what cooperation means. And when I say that, actually, I mean it's the parent who should be really clear what cooperation means. Cooperation means three things. First, that they do it right away. Second, that they do it without arguing or fussing. And third, that they do a good job. That's the rule. Right now, a lot of kids probably rely on this definition. If what you ask me to do seems reasonable, and I eventually get to do it, and it's sort of an okay job, hey, what's the problem? But that's the definition that doesn't work. So if you want, write this down. You could write it down on the back of your hand. You could post it on the refrigerator. But the key thing is you want to recognize when you ask your youngster to do something, are they cooperating? Once you have the definition clear in your own head, you have to start teaching this to your youngster. And I've thought a lot about this, and we've worked with parents to try and find the right approach. And this is the one that seems to work best. Think of it like you're being a coach. You're really teaching your child, your youngster, a new skill, the skill of cooperation. And so how does a good coach work? Basically, a good coach teaches the skill. They're very clear. Do this. This is what I want you to do. Play it this way. Move this way. Hold it this way. And then they observe. And if the youngster does it right, they say, good job. If they don't do it right, they don't criticize. They just repeat the skill. So in the case, if you ask your youngster to do something, and they go, in a minute, and you go, Mike, come on, go do it right away. Cooperation means right away. Sound natural. Sound like yourself, pleasantly correcting until they do it. Hey, good job, thank you. No big deal. We're not handing out M&Ms or ponies or anything like that. We're just presenting it, observing how they do, correcting it if they need to by repeating it, and then saying good job at the end. If the word cooperation starts to get tiresome, use some different word. But basically what you're looking for is that 3 points. All three, not 2 out of 3, all 3. Next. Probably the most important thing as you teach this is to focus on the cooperation and not the task. In other words, if you ask your youngster to set the table and a minute later they're still sitting on the couch, don't say, I asked you to set the table. Say, I asked you to do something. I need your cooperation. It's cooperation we're working on. Because you could be dealing with 10 different things. Homework, getting ready for bed, setting the table. But if you make it all cooperation, you're working on one thing. And they also understand at some level that they're supposed to cooperate, while they may not at the same level believe that they're supposed to set the table. There are 2 common mistakes that you want to avoid that people often make. One is, particularly if you have a youngster who doesn't cooperate very well for whatever reason, once you give the request or command or whatever, don't walk away until you're pretty confident that they're off and doing it. If you give the request and walk away, it's a real setup for them not to do what you asked. So stay on top of it until you see them moving. The second mistake that people often make is if they don't get immediate cooperation, they start to raise their voice, they start to get commanding or yelling. And you don't want to go there because you've really shifted off from the high ground of a parent asking for cooperation to somebody yelling at them and them yelling back and forth. So it's not always the case, but there are some kids who actually count on parents losing their temper because now they can shift into the discussion of, well, you're always yelling at me, when really you want to keep it on the issue of, come on, I need your help. So stay cool. The third one has to do with the idea of you want to minimize procrastination. Now, you may ask your youngster, I need you to get started on whatever it is. And they say, can I do it in a half an hour? And you have a choice. You really do. You can say, okay. If you say, okay, in a half an hour, it is totally unlikely that any kid with ADD is going to come to you and say, okay, I'm ready. It just won't happen. So in a half an hour, say, okay, it's time. Don't be upset. Don't be frustrated. It's time. And get them going. The other case, though, a lot of times is it's better to say no. Let's just get this done, get it out of the way, because when you give them permission to do it later, it really falls back to you to track that they've gone and done it. And so it's something on your to-do list where a lot of these things are small requests. Go do it, and then you can get back to is the point here. The next is there are a couple of phrases that you can use that actually invite cooperation. So let's talk about the first one here is giving choices. And yes, parents have the right to ask things of their kids, but nobody likes to constantly be told to do something. And so giving choices is often, would you rather do this or would you rather do that? If it's homework, you want to start with your spelling or do you want to start with your math? If it's help me in the kitchen, do you want to peel and prepare the vegetables or do you want to set the table? We like having a choice, even if the choice is helping or doing your homework. Don't usually give the choice of do you want to do it now or do you want to do it later? You know where that one's going. The other one is the phrase that goes, as soon as you get your homework done, you can do this. It comes out of something called Grandma's Law, which says as soon as you finish your vegetables, you can have some pie. But notice that Grandma doesn't say you can't have any pie until you eat your vegetables. Phrasing it in the positive, as soon as you get this done, you can do this, is an incentive for kids, where holding something back tends to set up somewhat of a power struggle. So by this point, you're probably asking yourself, yeah, but what if they won't do it? What if they just won't do it? So that has to be addressed. You can't ignore that. But I do want to say that remember this coaching thing, is a coach may coach the same move a dozen times, patiently. Come on, I need your cooperation. We all work better together. I need your cooperation. Come on. But there will get points when you can tell either your youngster is flat out telling you no, or you're being gamed. And so what do you do in that case? In that case, what you want to do is you want to change your tone a little bit. Because up till now, your tone is kind of, come on, I need your help. That's all. Here the tone gets a little bit more serious, but nothing big. And you just simply say at this point, Michael, when I ask you to do something, and it goes over and over and over, and you don't cooperate, it really makes it hard for us to work together. You can also say, it also makes it hard as your mom or your dad. Or you can say, it actually hurts our relationship when we have to fight about cooperation. So, here's something you need to do to make up to that and to fix the damage so that we can move on. And at that point, you name out something that your youngster can do that would take 5-10 minutes, not a big deal, something small, that would be helpful to you. But you add, or you observe, until that is done, there are no privileges. And I mean by that, no food, phone, fun, friends, Facebook, everything. Until that little job is done and done right. And then you wipe the slate clean. It's a way of saying, you've hurt me when you don't cooperate, this fixes it, and we're both good and we can move on. A final point on, if your youngster's not cooperating and you've set out a task for them to do. Never add to that task. You want the one task out there. The task isn't a punishment. It's a way of leading to wiping the slate clean. So you give the task, it's a 5-minute task. If they want to pout, move about, even be argumentative, ignore it. Just get the task done. At some point, they're looking at, do this, to their mind, stupid little task, and then being out of trouble. Or are they going to continue to fight? Don't do the task. But if you piled on one task after another task, or threatened a task, if you don't start cooperating, I'm going to make you do something, then you invite the power struggle that creates a much bigger conflict. So keep the task simple, keep it to one, and be real good about wiping the slate clean when it's over. It's never one instance. You may have several of these. Cooperation will not improve the first day you address it, but if you'll stay with this over a couple of weeks, you will notice a steady improvement in the relationship in the household. Let me recap. The first thing on improving cooperation is to have it really clear in your own mind what cooperation means. This means doing it right away. Don't argue or fuss. Do a good job. Second, you can avoid power struggles by thinking like a coach, which is you present the idea, you correct it if that's not what you're getting, you correct it again if it's not what you're getting, and when they finally do it the way you want, good job. Third, focus on the cooperation itself, not the task. Fourth, avoid the two common mistakes: walking away before you see that they're cooperating and losing your temper or becoming more commanding to get it done. 5, minimize procrastination. If you let them do it later, it's your responsibility to come back to them and say, now it's time. So on the other hand, it's probably better to get more things done right away so that they can get onto what they want to get onto and you don't have to remember. Next, use phrases that invite cooperation. One of them is the giving choices. Would you rather do this or do this? The second one is that variation of Grandma's Law. As soon as you get this done, you can go on to what you want to do. Again, make it sound positive. And finally, you need to address when they're absolutely refusing to cooperate or you feel you're being gamed. And in this case, mention how it hurts the relationship, assign a small task that's helpful to you, and then wipe the slate clean when they've accomplished the task. But until the task is done, hold back all privileges.